Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along. Well, we flew through Cincinnati and we all got really happy. Grabbed a bowl of that Skyline chili along the way. Then we rolled on in the camp.
Welcome in to Indiana Sports Beat. Seems like having a little microphone trouble again. These guys got to get their microphones fixed, man. It's driving me insane. Thanks a lot for joining us, taking us along, whatever you may be doing, wherever you're going. Appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along. Jim Coyle here with you. Got Justin Kalen high top, the crew chief's box as always.
That's right.
Welcome into this 17th day of January. On the show today, we're going to try it again. Todd Jadlow, supposed to have been with us yesterday, but he had something come up with the kiddos. Sick kiddo, so understandable. But Todd's supposed to be on the program today. Also, Dustin DePoric from The Athletic. Be good. He covers Indiana beat writer for The Athletic, but he also covers Butler and Purdue. So be good to get him to talk to Indiana taking on the Boilermakers this weekend. But we got a lot to get to. Jack Tuttle met with the media yesterday as well. Before we get to all that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your headlines for this Thursday, January 17th. The Daily Hoosier headlines as Indiana women's basketball comes up just short last night, 75-69 as they hosted Northwestern. Antoine Randall is back in the NFL with the Buccaneers. He will serve as the defensive and special teams assistant coach. Trace Jackson Davis and Armand Franklin are on the nominee list to be McDonald's All-Americans. And Marty Brennaman retiring from the Reds after 46 years behind the mic. Those are your headlines, brought to you by DailyHoosier.com.
Absolutely. Make sure you go to DailyHoosier.com to keep up with all that. But lots going on. Yeah, Marty Brennaman, man, that's I saw that and I sent a post out that grew up on the Big Red Machine as a kid. Remember playing Little League, listening to the Reds. Kurt, one of my best friends growing up, his dad always had the Reds game on. Marty Brennaman, Joe Nuxall. And this one belongs to the Reds. And then the old left-hander rounding third and headed for home. I think Joe Nuxall was the youngest pitcher ever in the major leagues. He lied about his age, I think, to start. I'm not kidding. Look that up. Todd Jadlow on the show today. Kind of a polarizing figure in the annals of Indiana basketball. We'll talk to him about that. He's got a book that's been out for a while, Jadlow on the Rebound. We'll talk about that a little bit, but catch up, see what life is like for him now. He didn't exactly have the easiest of lives either. He ran into some trouble post-college. Talk about all that, what he's doing now, what he thinks of this particular team. I can tell you one thing. I know a lot of people are not thinking too highly of this particular team, talking about Indiana basketball. Social media has been set ablaze.
It's gotten to the point where it's annoying now.
No, it's beyond annoying. I don't have a problem with people espousing their opinions. Hell, that's what I do every day. But it's my opinion. They need to put on there, in my opinion, or I think. But we'll get into this a lot more later. But it's cracking me up. Some of these people, and the thing I noticed yesterday, family members of not only recruits but targets, i.e. Keon Brooks, noting on a feed, no mercy. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know how good it could be.
I did find Joe Nuxall, by the way. He started when he was 15.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
You weren't supposed to be able to do that.
But he got called up because of a shortage during World War II. So it makes sense.
Called up to what, to baseball?
Yeah. I guess they needed him. So all their guys were gone.
Yeah, he was a great one. He was a great one. Hit us up on the text line today. Let us know thoughts, questions, comments, either for Todd Jadlow, for Dustin DePoric from The Athletic. That number is 812-269-6367. We'd like to welcome Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling to the family, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. You can reach out to them at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Thanks a lot to Joe Sweetland and the crew. John Sweetland and the crew. How about this weather so far?
Not bad.
No, I can't believe it. Women, Indiana's women team, man, lost at home last night. A little bit of a surprise.
They were winning early, too.
To Northwestern.
Yeah.
Where is Northwestern in the standings? I don't have the standings pulled up, but I don't recall them. I didn't know that they were one of the top teams.
I can't imagine they are. Give me a second. I'll get them pulled up here.
But anyway, it's a loss none the same. Indiana traveling on the road Saturday to Purdue. And, man, if you watch Purdue play the other night and you watch Indiana play the other night, those are two storms heading in different directions. And it doesn't look all that good for Indiana.
Did you see the cheeky little video that Purdue put out yesterday?
I did not.
Their athletes. Every game matters, but one game matters more. Beat IU. It's like, get over it.
Well, that's because they know they're probably going to win this year.
But no, I guess they have 3 athletic events, IU versus Purdue in Mackey Arena, 3 straight days.
Oh.
I guess the women might play, and then I think it may have been wrestling or something.
Ah. Old-fashioned hoedown.
That's right.
Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know what your thoughts, comments, questions are. There were some messages yesterday I didn't get a chance to get to. Joker had sent in. I'll have to get those pulled up.
I was wondering. You brought up Joker, and then you never read a text from me.
I did. I got distracted. I got distracted in what I was talking about yesterday, and I can't remember what his text was about, and I can't find it because it's too much to look for. But just send us another one. He's listening. Send us another one. But, man, the social media thing in Indiana basketball has gotten a little crazy.
Yeah. What
the hell is wrong with you people? Now, Dan Dockage pretty much ripped Archie, apparently. That set it ablaze a little bit.
I'm so tired of people letting Dan Dockage ruffle their feathers.
Me too. For one thing,
like, he's not around the program.
It doesn't matter if he is or not.
Right.
Do you not think that he wants that? That's great. But he has the cachet that he can do that and get away with it.
Sure.
There are certain things that I probably don't have. I don't know. Maybe not have the ability to reach out and go as far out as he can. He can get by with a little more than I can.
Over you.
That's what I meant. But I think it's ridiculous for him to do that. But there's a lot of truth to things that are being said, but I think they're taken out of context.
Yeah.
I mean, there's mistakes that have been made, I think. I think there's been a lot of coaching mistakes. And I've got questions. But I think the thing that people need to remember is pump the brakes. What talent does he really have there, Romeo and Juwan? Besides that, expectations were just too high.
Yeah, way too high.
And
we were guilty of it, too.
Absolutely. Fitzner, we got Evan Fitzner coming in. He's a 42% three-point shooter, but he can't hit a water if he falls out of a boat now.
I think I remember telling you, though, when they signed him that I wasn't crazy about it.
you very well may have, and if you did, you were right. A bust. A total bust. And that's on Archie.
Yeah.
That's completely on Archie. His recruit, his find, his signing. Done nothing. Okay, you got injuries out of your control. You got guys you got to get developed a lot faster. Demezy Anderson, Jake Forrester, where are they? Why are they not playing? Why are we not seeing them on the floor, especially in a time with such personnel problems? Why? Why not against a 1-3-1 zone? They kicked your ass the other night. Are you not putting in one of the only known shooters you have on the bench? I don't know. I'm not saying that it's a question. Those are questions, and you can question. Hoosier Nation, you can question people. You can ask questions, which is exactly what I'm doing. I don't know all the answers. That's why I'm asking questions and not making statements.
And that's the difference. The making statements like you know exactly what's going on, that's really gotten old.
It's just funny.
I'll throw a stat out at you, though, that I heard a couple nights ago. You know, was it Tom Izzo didn't get to his first Final Four till his 4th year. Bill Self didn't get to his first Final Four till his 5th year. It was Coach K didn't get to his first Final Four till his 6th year, and even Cal didn't get to his first Final Four till his 4th year. So settle down. It's Archie's 2nd year. Even the greatest coaches in college basketball took time to develop these teams once they get there.
Well, not only is it his 2nd year, he's got one recruiting class in. He's dealing with Tom Crean's players. Tom Crean's players that never, ever, ever, ever thought about playing defense. Not only are they having to play defense right now, they're having to be ingratiated into a very difficult defensive system, a scheme that it takes a while to implement. Okay? That aside, you've got a ton of injuries. I'm tired of hearing it, but it's the truth. Losing Jerome Hunter is a blow. Now, some questions that I have. Justin Smith, he's not developing offensively. He's developing defensively quite nicely. Offensively, whose fault is that? Coaches. Why? Why is he not developing? He's 6'8", has a 48-inch vertical leap. He should be kicking the crap out of people, rebounding like he's a madman, scoring, dunking, not getting blocked. He's been blocked more than any other Indiana player I've seen this year. I will guarantee you that's a fact. He has been blocked more than any other Indiana player this year. How is that possible at 6'8" with a 48-inch vertical leap? No aggression. Trying to lay the ball in. There's no assertiveness. There's no sense of urgency. We got a lot of things to deal with. We got a big show today, like I said. Todd Jadlow's on. Dustin DePoric. Hit us up on the... I always say it wrong. Doperak, DePoric. But we've got a lot to get to. Thanks a lot. Hit us up on the text line 812-269-6367. Joker did, and I'll get to him when we come back. Indiana Sports Beat, back with more right after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, and joined as promised from Peas.com, Matt Weaver. Matthew, how are you, brother?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys doing?
Great. All kinds of stuff going on in the world of college football, man. Everybody moving all over the place. Ohio State loses a quarterback to the draft. Then they gain one from Georgia. Then they lose one to Miami. It's all kinds of musical chairs going on.
Yeah, it's kind of become college football's version of free agency. This transfer portal, guys are moving all over the place, and at the quarterback position especially, as we've seen, because guys want to play and they don't want to wait, and so they're exploring their options.
Absolutely, and that's in a similar way, not the same, but carried over to the coaching world this year. It's I don't know if it's just because Indiana's in the market for an offensive coordinator, but it sure seems like a lot of action this year amongst coaches moving around.
Yeah, and I mean it's. Every year there's obviously turnover in coaching staffs and jobs opening and guys going from here to there. I think what's changed a little bit with the new early signing period is that schools are kind of motivated to try to get guys to make decisions on their coaches sooner. I saw a few schools that actually got rid of their coaches during the season. With that early signing period, especially with most of the guys signing at that time, you really can't wait around until January if you know you're going to make a coaching change or like mid to late December, because it's too late to put together a recruiting class. So I think that's kind of sped up the process. And then after that, it's just kind of the dominoes keep kind of falling. They should start to slow down because we're getting closer to spring ball and guys will start being finalized. But there's still obviously some openings left, and including the one you mentioned, the OC position in Indiana.
Absolutely. A lot going on. Also, the NFL PA Bowl going on right now. I noticed Brandon Knight, a former Hoosier, coming up gimpy out of that game. Any other Hoosiers performing there?
I believe he's the only one. Nick Linder is down in I think they're down in Tampa for the East-West Shrine Bowl, and it looks like he's doing pretty well in the practices. And I think Delroy Baker's playing in the game, and I apologize, I can't remember the name of the game he's in. But those are the three guys right now that are playing. And then I think Dan Gotzel will be in the Senior Bowl, which is fantastic for him. So congrats to those guys, and hopefully Brandon's okay. Hopefully it was just a little bit of a mild or minor injury where he can come back and play and show teams, because he's getting some pub as a guy who could go in kind of the like that 5, 6, 7 round range in the draft. So it sounds like he's got a shot to get drafted and have a career in the NFL.
And then this talk about coaches, I talked about them. Well, there's so many on the move right now. I actually thought that the OC position for Indiana would be filled by now, at least something getting closer, which I'm sure they are getting closer. There's a lot we probably don't know with the behind-the-scenes stuff, clearances and all that stuff. But are we any closer?
Yeah, I think they're getting closer. Is there a date in mind? I think they'd like to have it done, obviously, as soon as possible. But, like I said on our board, I know it's kind of cliche to say this, but it's better to get it done right than to get it done quickly. They're probably going to start having some recruits in this weekend, and you'd like to have your OC on campus, but it's not crucial to recruiting right now because the majority of your class is locked up. Obviously you got your quarterback. You're still trying to get a receiver, but you still should be able to sell the receiver on what your offense is going to look like. Even without an OC, because Tom Allen knows what he wants his offense to look like. So I think they're getting closer. But when that day will be, it's just hard to say. Maybe something happens this week. Maybe it's next week.
Earlier I mentioned that IU is not exactly going to be at the top of the list for a lot of these guys if there's a better job open. And with so many job openings, I think that's put Indiana behind the 8 ball a little bit because they're not going to get the choice selection when you're going up against bigger name teams for obvious reasons. So that is to me is what's playing a bigger part into this is there are so many openings right now and other opportunities for people.
Yeah, that could be. Some of the schools that are open, obviously you had Miami open. I don't think Indiana was looking at the same guys that Miami was looking at. Trying to think what other OC jobs are out there. I think Kansas opened because their OC left to go take the Troy head coaching job. They might be in the same, pool of candidates. I haven't heard that, but everything I'm hearing is that Tom Allen is very pleased with the feedback he's gotten and the pool of candidates that he is that are interested in the job. I think one thing that helps Indiana as far as finding a candidate is whoever they bring in is going to have as Tom Allen described it, the head coach of the offense. So he's gonna be running that side of the ball. Now, obviously, there are, as we've seen, the reported thing with Matt Canada. There are some limits to that, and while I really like Matt Canada, you can't let him have control of the offensive staff. That's too much power for an offensive coordinator, in my opinion. I wish it maybe could have worked out. Although I think the reports that it was actually offered to him are a bit inaccurate. I think they were talking about it, but I don't think it ever got to the offer stage. But however it played out, you're still going to have a lot of freedom as an offensive coordinator in Indiana, and I think that would be appealing to a lot of guys.
Let me ask you this, and I understand, I agree with what you said in regards to how much control you can give up. But what if he signed a guaranteed 3-year contract for 3 years, guaranteed, can't leave in 3 years? Do you give them that kind of control then to allow for continuity?
That definitely that changes it a little bit. Here's the problem I have with you letting an OC come in and basically turn over a staff of guys that you hired. You know, first of all, going forward, when let's say his 3-year deal's up, you know, and here's the thing: even if they sign a 3-year guaranteed deal, if a school wants to hire him as a head coach, they're going to pay that buyout. So that even though you have that 3-year guaranteed contract, there's still ways around that. But the problem you still have going forward is whenever he leaves, you hire the next OC. That OC is going to want the same. It just kind of it's a slippery slope, in my opinion. Because once you open that Pandora's box, it's pretty much open. So everybody you hire from here on out is going to want that same kind of power. And maybe the next guy you're not comfortable giving him that too. And it really, you know, you set a precedent that's going to be tough to kind of go back on. And secondly, who do the office's coaches report to? Who's their boss? That would be confusing to me. Is their boss the OC or is their boss the head coach? Because if the OC is what who determined who got hired, then if I'm an offensive coach, that's who I report to. So to me, it gets real sticky when you let. Now, if there's openings on your staff, if you've got a couple positions open, I mean, this happened with Mike DeBoer. He had input in a couple positions. Now, he didn't make the hires, but when he came in, they had a couple positions that came open after he was hired, and he had input. But ultimately, Tom Allen made the decision on who they brought in. And I think that's how it's got to be. I think the head coach has got to be in control of staffing because at the end of the day, it's his program and his, you know, rear end on the line if things go bad.
I agree. I understand it. What about Morgan Ellison heading off to Lance Chance U?
Yeah, hopefully it works out for Morgan. You know, JUCO life is you know it's a tough life, but he's a talented guy, and if he goes out there and you know toes the line and all that kind of stuff, I think he'll do great on the field. I'm not sure going to a place where stuff off the field is going to be put on TV is the best move for him, but you know, hopefully he does well and gets that next opportunity. It'll be interesting to see what school might take a chance on him. You know, obviously because of what happened in Indiana, but the talent's there, and if you feel like he's not going to be a disruption or a problem, you know, he's a guy that can definitely play Power 5 football. I mean, he's shown that. So, you know, good luck to him, and hopefully it works out there. And in 2020, he's at a D1 school somewhere.
Yeah, he's not the first Indiana player to make it onto Last Chance U. I know Camion Patrick played for East Mississippi. Was there one other?
Yeah, Juan Harris, actually, he was at Independence last year, and I believe I don't know when the season starts for that. I think it's upcoming. He'll be in, I think, some of the episodes is my understanding. So I don't know what exactly happens in the episodes, but I think he will be one of the players that you see in the episodes, because I think this past season they followed around that school, and it was I don't know if that was the first or second year of doing it. I can't remember, but he will be, whenever the next season comes out, I think Juan Harris will be kind of in some of those seasons, or in some of those episodes, I mean.
Yeah, I guess my first question, with all that Morgan Ellison went through, is going to a place to where everything is being broadcast on TV, a place that you really need to be?
Well, you know, Morgan's obviously a guy that, you know, he's very active on social media, and sometimes to his detriment, you know, on Instagram and obviously Twitter and I think even Snapchat. So, you know, now you're going to have to put a camera in front of him. He's definitely a guy that likes the spotlight. Nothing wrong with that, but sometimes, you know, let's be honest, we're dealing with young people. I mean, if somebody put a camera in my face when I was 19 years old, I would not come off looking great either. So, you know, these guys are put in positions probably before they're ready to be put in those positions, and sometimes the maturity level is not what it needs to be. Like a lot of us when we were that age. I mean, it's just the way it is. Sometimes people expect them to be professionals. They're not. They're kids. I mean, there's still kids playing college sports, and you know, they do things that, you know, I'm sure 5 years, 10 years down the road, they really wish they wouldn't have done and they regret. But it is what it is. Hopefully he'll kind of keep it somewhat of a low profile, go out there, you know, grind and work and get himself back to where he wants to be.
Absolutely. Anything else going on in your world that the folks need to know about?
Well, like I said, recruiting starting this weekend. You know, I think there's going to be a few visitors coming in. One one that we do know about for sure, Cecil Powell, a DB out of South Florida, Piper High School down by Fort Lauderdale. He's currently committed to Baylor, but very receptive and open to Indiana. He's hearing from a few other schools, but Indiana's done a good job. Coach Casey Teagard, the safeties coach, is heading up that recruitment and doing a great job. And so they want to get a safety in this class. They were only going to take one all along, and Cecil's a really good player. So maybe they can get him to flip here pretty soon. Another guy who could be visiting, still trying to work on confirmation, but T.J. Jones, a really good receiver out of the Lake City, Florida, kind of north central Florida, near, not too far from Tallahassee, actually. Good receiver, would be a really good. I mean, I know people are disappointed about David Bell, but this would be a nice consolation prize, just below a 4-star level, but a big-time player, and I think he might be coming in this weekend. I don't want to say that's set in stone, but I think there's a good chance of it. So only a couple guys right now, but two really good gets if they could get them.
Absolutely. And Indiana's had a great, obviously it's well known, they've had a great run in recruiting, and this only adds to continue to bolster that. And that's why I think it's very important on who they get that OC hired. But also I think that now that January is hit, that I know that they would like to get it done as soon as possible for so many reasons. I mean, obviously for continuity, to get things going in that right direction, to get that offense implemented, because there's going to be changes, especially in vernacular and terminology, people using different styles and whatnot. But there's probably not going to be wholesale changes in the Indiana offense because the personnel is pretty much what it is. I think there's going to be subtle changes, but obviously they need to get those implemented as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Another interesting thing today, this afternoon we get Jack Tuttle for availability. So it's going to be interesting to hear from him and his experience in Indiana and I'm sure he's not going to say a lot about the OC position if he knows. I don't know how much he knows, but just what maybe it'd be interesting to see what he was told about it when they were recruiting him and he was going through the process, because obviously there were rumors all year that DeBoer could possibly. And for the last couple of years, there were those rumors because he basically retired from Tennessee 2 years ago, and Tom Allen kind of talked him out of it. So it'll be interesting to hear from Jack and how things are going for him in his first few weeks in Indiana, and just get to meet him. And I've heard he's a great kid, so it'll be fun to talk to him. So that's something to look forward to this afternoon.
You can find it at Peegs.com. Matt Weaver and complete coverage of Indiana football. Matt, thank you so much, brother.
Okay, appreciate it, guys. Take care.
You bet. You as well. Matt Weaver from Peegs.com. You can check out complete coverage there, brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg, serving the Hoosier family needs for over 30 years. Let Doctors Jay and Roger Reynolds take care of your family's needs. Reynolds Family Dentistry, Sellersburg. And we've got, speaking of Jack Tuttle, we'll hear from him when we come back here on Indiana Sports Beat. Lots more as well. Todd Jadlow's on the show today. Dustin Dvorak, plenty more. Indiana Sports Beat back right after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. With hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. 17th day of January 2019. Thanks a lot for joining us. A lot going on, a lot to get to. You heard Matt Weaver talking about Jack Tuttle. We'll hear from him here in just a little bit. Hey, did you see Enes Kanter? Did you see what's going on with him?
Yeah.
Former UK player, but he's from Turkey. And his team is traveling to who does he play for?
The Knicks.
They're traveling to London, I believe, for a game.
Correct.
He is not going out of fear of being assassinated by the Turkish government. The Turkish government is attempting to have an arrest warrant slapped on Enes Kanter for belonging to a quote-unquote terrorist group. You got a lot of crap going on over in Turkey, and I'm like, what?
Well, that's the thing with this whole Kanter thing is it's not been going on just this year. This has been going on for 2, 3, maybe even 4 years now where he's had to deal with these people. I remember last year they were trying to cancel his visa so they'd have to bring him back and he couldn't play NBA. Somehow he got a waiver around that.
His visa from Turkey was canceled.
Yeah. I mean, it's a mess.
It's
I don't envy
crazy.
him.
It's like, I don't either. I feel sorry for him. But it's like, it's so crazy. Those Turkish, I'm like, are you out of your mind? Apparently, yes. The answer is yes.
I couldn't imagine being a professional athlete and, sorry, team, I can't go with you because I'm scared that I'm going to get killed. Like, I can't imagine the feeling that would be.
I'm still trying to catch up on what happened last night in the UConn-Tulsa game. Obviously, I was asleep when all this went on, and I'm just now seeing it. But apparently, the coaches, UConn's Dan Hurley and Tulsa's Frank Haith, were controversially ejected after a handshake. They had both gotten a technical during the game for jawing. That was midway through the second half, and Tulsa was leading comfortably. After the refs teed them up, the two coaches traded words with one another, leading to a quicker than usual whistle and ejection. And the funny thing is, I was watching I just saw the clip without sound, and I could see Hurley going, "We were shaking hands. We were shaking hands.
Right.
We were shaking hands." It's like, it's too late. You're gone. But and then they stand there together, as in the end, going, "Yeah, we were just shaking hands together," and they're shaking hands again. And it's like two kids that just got caught doing something. They're like, "Oh no, we were just playing. We were playing. We weren't for real. Bye."
But it was kind of all right, we got our tees, let's shake hands like men and move on. And then that's when they got teed up. I mean, I don't think it was anything malicious at all. Kind of odd.
Well, it's funny, but you're tossing two coaches out of a game. Now, I guess this is the game that was out of reach maybe, but man.
Hurley's face when he gets tossed.
Kind of funny. It's kind of funny. It was competitive banter, Haith said after the game. Both coaches are competitors, and I think both coaches were trying to help their team. Oh, man, that's funny.
For the record, it was Dan Hurley's 46th birthday.
I thought you were going to say his 46th technical.
No, that's a lot.
Because he is known to wear his emotions on his sleeve. So that was kind of funny. Man, net rankings. I was looking at those. Indiana was what, 15, 16 last week?
Yep.
They gone. They're down to 31 right now. And let me tell you, they lose 3 or 4 of these next 5 games. I don't know how far they'll drop. Be like a rock.
They absolutely cannot afford to lose 4 of the 5.
Nope. They actually, to be honest with you, they need to win 3 out of the 5. They've got to win 2 of the games that they're supposed to win, even though they're on the road. I'm tired of hearing this. Well, it's all. I don't care. I don't care. You're one of the better teams in the Big Ten. You are supposed to win. You have to rise up. You have to man up, and you have to play. Not that show that they put on against Nebraska at home. They're going to have to rise up, and they need to beat Michigan at home.
I think it'll happen. Still feeling good about it.
I know it can.
Yeah.
Because I know what the differences were on the road at Michigan. They were not. It's not like they can't overcome these. Hell, they lost by 3 at Maryland before the debacle at home against Nebraska.
Yeah. And I think it is important to remember these last 2 games, both the Maryland and the Nebraska game. You didn't have Rob Phinisee where Rob Phinisee was at the beginning of the season. I think as the more games go on and Rob Phinisee integrates himself back into this offense, it will get back to that point that we saw in the beginning of the season where it was clicking on all cylinders, because I think Rob Phinisee is the type of point guard that can make that happen. I mean, he's cool, calm, and collected out there.
Well,
so I'll be paying attention to that.
Well, it definitely makes a difference. And Joker did text in on this, with this game being against Puke, as he called him, P-U. Do we see a different Rob Phinisee? Extra effort, ? And the possibility of looking more for his shot, ? Could this be a game where Rob has a career high, ?
Yeah.
Well, I'll answer that one first. I don't think so. But
he's going home.
Only because I don't know if he's completely back yet. Does he start? I say he starts, especially because it's in West Lafayette. And Archie's got to do something different. You've got to send a message. The other day against Nebraska, in my opinion, do you know what I would have done? Especially when I saw Justin Smith throw that pass along the baseline to God knows who, and then casually jog up the floor and watch Nebraska score as everyone else did the same. Do you know what I would have done at that minute? I'd have stood up if I was Archie Miller. I'd have walked to the end of the bench. I'd have looked at Johnny Jager and Blackman and every one of the last 5 guys in the rotation and marched their ass up to that scorer's table and watch every one of those starters come out and I would just tell him, go to the end of the bench. I don't even want to talk to you right now.
Now, that seems like a great idea in theory, and coaches always talk about that. But
what?
Then you run the risk of going from 10 down to 20 down, and it can happen at a snap of a finger.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed something where Indiana reared up and did something the other night.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to.
I'm talking about the effort that I was looking at on that floor. Yeah. They were going backwards at that moment.
Right.
Because there was no effort being put forth. And that's the thing. It's not losing a game that is aggravating. It is not trying. It is not competing. That is what's aggravating. And part of what has Hoosier Nation so up in arms is it doesn't appear that Archie's not very proactive publicly, I guess you'd say. A lot of people want them. I was talking to a former player who thinks that Archie should call the players out individually. Post game, hey, we got nothing out of Justin Smith, or we got nothing out of finishing. I'm just making this up right now. And I'm like, well,
that's not his style.
That's exactly what I said. First of all, it's not his style. This is a different era. I don't know that many coaches are going to do that. To do that, you've got to be Mike Krzyzewski can do that. A veteran, Tom Izzo can do that right now. I don't know that Archie can do that yet, although it would endear him to the Indiana fans because there's a big portion of those that are still in that Bob Knight camp who want him to kick somebody or throw a chair or something.
I do think it would probably endear him to the IU fans a little more, but I also at the same time I think you risk hostility in the locker room if that's the case.
I'm not suggesting that's. But I am suggesting you walk down the bench, you get 5 guys, and you march them up to the scorer's table. Send a message. If you don't want to play, I'll send somebody in that does. Because there doesn't seem to be.
Maybe not the 5 into the bench guys, though.
Yes. Not for very long. But just send a message. There doesn't seem to be. I was talking to Steve Risley, and this was a great point. Doesn't seem to be consequences for these guys. He talked about when they played, there were consequences, of course, and that was different, and I'm not trying to compare that because that's a whole different deal to the Knight era. But I agree, there should be consequences, i.e., getting your ass out of the game. There should be no bigger consequence than sitting on that bench. I just don't know that there just doesn't seem to be a sense of urgency by anybody.
Except for Romeo in the second half when he needs to have urgency.
Well, Romeo was being Romeo.
Yeah.
But as a team, no. Now, some of that definitely falls on Archie. I don't know how frustrated he is. I'm not in that locker room. I'm not in those practices. And I'm not going to pretend that I am, that I know. I don't. But I do know that something has to be done, and that is that lies at the feet of the head coach. Effort, losing is one thing. Not competing, that's a whole different ballgame. And they did not compete. They embarrassed themselves. They did.
Hopefully a little better effort on Saturday.
Hopefully so.
Speaking of, can we go back to that Nebraska game? Their jerseys were pretty sweet, right?
Man, it's a red jersey with Nebraska written on it. And
it was the way it was written. It was cool.
It's the Nebraska script.
I liked them.
It's just like the Indiana script.
Yeah.
But,
thought it was a good-looking jersey.
I'll give you that one. It was. Hey, Jack Tuttle, talked about Jack Tuttle. He met with the media yesterday. Newest quarterback in the quarterback room for Indiana. Dude sounds like a quarterback. Freshman. But he's got the swagger. He sounds like a quarterback. A quarterback with confidence. See what I think he does have confidence. Let's hear what Jack Tuttle had to say.
Yeah, they asked him what type of player Indiana fans can expect out of Jack Tuttle. Let's hear what he had to say.
I'm going to give this team everything I got, and I hate losing. I absolutely hate losing. I hate it more than I love winning, and I think that's the kind of attitude I bring here, and I think a lot of guys are on board with that idea, and it's all about just moving forward and grinding, and I think we're doing that for sure.
Just as a quarterback, in terms of skill set, that kind of thing.
Okay. I feel like I'm going to work hard. I think, Peyton, Mike, and I, we're all going to improve together, and I think that's important. Like I said before, competition equals success, so that breeds it, and so I think that's what the main point I'm trying to make is.
You mentioned
Jack Tuttle talking to the media yesterday. Yeah, he's got a little swagger to him. He's got the confidence. Good-looking kid, good-looking quarterback. It's going to be an interesting dynamic.
Parents both went to IU.
Well, it's just going to be an interesting dynamic between Tuttle and Penix.
Yeah.
Tale of two cities. Two different quarterbacks. Two different styles. Both can throw the heck out of the ball, but different styles. But next, you've got to get an offense coordinator in position because during that press conference, someone had mentioned getting ingratiated into the offense. What offense? They don't have an offensive coordinator. What offense are they going to run? Are you going to force this offensive coordinator to run an offense that you have in place? Just curious, but
yeah, I also have that answer lined up as well about them asking him about the offensive coordinator and how hard it is to adjust without one.
In many cases, for players it would be, but here it's not, just because we trust Coach Allen, and we trust Coach Sheridan and the rest of the coaching staff that they'll make the right choice, and we're behind each other no matter what. And just being here for 2 weeks, I can already tell that, and all the players are on board. So
you can tell that they are. They're taking their time. They're making their due diligence. Also, but yesterday when I spoke with Matt Weaver, I talked about there were a lot of openings, so there were a lot of guys going a lot of different places. I'm not sure exactly who all Indiana's looking at. I know that they were looking at an Oklahoma State assistant after Matt Canada had turned the job down. But I expect to see this resolved kind of soon now. Yeah. You got to get moving. It's mid-January. You've got to get an offense implemented, which I'm sure that they're going to use what they have, but tweak it, but there's going to be different terminology.
Tim texted the show. He said they kept asking what kind of quarterback his skill set is. He kept saying, work hard like all the guys. Do you think they wanted him to say that he can throw the long ball?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think it matters because he can. That's a known. He's a known. That's a known quality that he possesses. So throwing the ball is something he can do, as long with Michael Penix. So again, that's why it's going to be a very interesting dynamic next year when both quarterbacks can throw the daggone ball. But you've got one in Michael Penix who is a lot more mobile, and he's got as strong as arm as anybody. Tuttle does not have any stronger of an arm, but accuracy. Maybe he's more accurate. I don't know. We'll find out when those guys get to go at it.
His sidearm is true.
He's got the squirrel oil, baby. Loads and loads of squirrel oil. But Jack Tuttle it's going to be, and poor Peyton Ramsey. You know what? He got to play 2 years at a Division I Big Ten college.
Yeah.
Probably not what he would have gotten to do anywhere else. But what do you do when, as a freshman, you start? As a sophomore, you start the entire year. And then your last 2 years, you have to sit.
I think, just like you said, at that point you count your blessings, what you got to do in the past. I mean, I don't see a scenario where he starts this year.
Oh,
right?
No. I don't see a scenario where he plays.
I could see him playing a little bit.
How? When? You got two quarterbacks in front of you. Yeah. Two.
They may throw him out there because Well, I guess teams will know how to defend him because they've seen him for 2 years. But
Well, I can tell you how to defend him. Just stand out in the flats and wait for him to throw the 5-yard pass. That's how you defend that.
Good point.
But does he transfer? 2 years of eligibility left? Or is he a red shirt? Does he have 3 years left?
I think he already did redshirt.
I think he did too. So he would only have a year if he transferred. But is having a year and getting to play someplace better than having 2 years and not playing? Something he's going to have to examine, I would imagine.
Depends if you can stay there and see Indiana turn it around, whether you're playing or not. That'd be
Now,
pretty cool.
He'll be very invaluable in helping Tuttle and continuing to help Penix both get ingratiated into that offense. And I think that he'll do exactly that, and I think he'll do a hell of a job at it. Yeah. We've got to take a break. We've got a lot more coming up on the program today. Todd Jadlow is with us, also Dustin DePort from The Athletic. Talk about Indiana Purdue this weekend. Stay tuned. We've got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat right after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch specials. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Welcome along, everybody, to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Hope your day's off to a great one. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat with you. Justin Kalen high atop the Crew Chiefs box as always.
That's right.
Got a lot to get to on the program today. Todd Jadlow with us. Scheduled yesterday. Had a sick child, so we've hopefully got him back here today. Dustin Toporek from The Athletic. Covers Indiana and Purdue. We'll talk about that matchup this weekend. Let's get to the headlines with Justin before we go any further.
All right, let's get to the Daily Hoosier headlines for this January 17th, 2019. As Indiana women's basketball comes up just short 75-69 last night against Northwestern in Assembly Hall. Antoine Randall L. is back in the NFL with the Buccaneers. He will serve as their defensive and special teams assistant coach. Trace Jackson Davis and Armand Franklin both find themselves on the McDonald's All-American nominee list. And Marty Brenneman retiring from the Reds after 46 years behind the mic. Those are your headlines. For more, go to dailyhoosier.com. You can also find Indiana Sports Beat right there as well. Those are your headlines on this January 17th, 2019.
And this one belongs to the Reds. I don't have quite that high enough voice to get away with that. But Marty Brenneman, yeah, it was a great childhood memories of listening to him and Joe Nuxhall.
Should we play his farewell message?
It was kind of long.
45 seconds or so.
We can. Do you have it queued up?
Not right now.
Okay, never mind. Then don't. A Syracuse superfan. You know, Syracuse knocked off Duke the other day at Duke. And I remember when I was down there for the Indiana game, there was shockingly a large number of Hoosiers down there. More so than probably any other game. Because I remember asking someone that was with Duke, I said, is this normal for an opposing team? They're like, oh, no. No, they said they usually just sit behind the bench. Well, there was the only section that there was not Indiana fans in was the student section. And that's for real. But anyway, a super fan that was down there for the Syracuse game, traveling with the team, I believe. He had lunch with Jim Boeheim a few hours before. And he said Boeheim seemed kind of confident, as a coach should be. And he told Boeheim, I think you guys are going to win. And then so he sends out a tweet, if Syracuse knocks off Duke, I'm going to donate $150,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs. And lo and behold, Syracuse pulls the upset, knocks off Duke, and he got the checkbook out. The funny thing is there was, I think, a Boys and Girls Club in 3 different cities in New York. So he gave $50,000 each, and then someone reminded him there was another location someplace else. But he only gave them $25,000. They got gypped a little bit. But pretty cool deal. And how about Randall L. back in the NFL? That's a little surprising.
That's right.
I don't know what he had been doing, but
I think he was just doing.
I didn't think he was really involved
studio work.
Yeah, I didn't think he was involved in football at this level, and usually after this amount of time, you don't go in that direction. But off he goes. Hey, Enes Kanter, the former UK player that's playing for the Knicks. Afraid to travel with his team over to London because he's afraid of being assassinated by the Turkish government. This is for real. He's been charged with belonging to a terrorist group by the newly implemented Turkish government, and they're sending out. They've got a warrant, an Interpol warrant that they're trying to get on him. It's crazy. That's just nuts. It's.
Wonder if the NBA can protect him.
How?
In any way from all that.
How? I mean,
there's
he's
got to
not,
be some.
He doesn't
legal...
he doesn't leave the country. He's fine.
Right. Yeah. That's
but it sucks. You can't leave the
they
daggone
can't
country.
Come get him here.
Oh no. I mean, they can make an extradition request, but there has to be the United States would have to feel that you committed these crimes, and that's not the case.
He posted a video yesterday online and said, the only thing I terrorize is rims. Video of him dunking.
Yeah, it's just sad deal.
Yeah.
But Hoosier Nation up in arms. Social media been set ablaze after the loss to Nebraska, home loss to Nebraska on Monday night. A debacle, a very, very poor effort. But I'm a little surprised at the venom being sent towards Archie, which, not that there's not questions that need to be answered and that he should answer and that he should be held accountable for, but, man, these people are going a little overboard.
Yeah.
There's a difference between holding someone accountable and questioning things, and y'all need to chill, man. Y'all need to chill.
Yep.
First of all, and I'll talk about this with Dustin a little bit when he's on, and with Todd Jadlow. Too many Todds. Tomorrow, Todd Leary on the show. But it just amazes me how quickly a lot of those people have turned. Yeah, there's things that are going wrong, but he does not have his players. First of all, he doesn't have half of the players that he has. Well, it's not that bad, but injuries have been horrible. And the two biggest injuries, and Joker mentioned this earlier in a text, or maybe it was yesterday, about Rob Phinisee going out, right? Rob was really getting up to the point to where I think he had really kind of ingratiated himself into that role. And then he goes down with that injury, and he's working his way back now, and that put Indiana a little bit of – well, you saw exactly what happens when he wasn't running the offense against Nebraska. That wasn't the only game he didn't play in, but they definitely need him back in a much fuller capacity. But with that aside, what else do you got? Romeo and Juwan. Okay, besides those guys, what do you got? Justin Smith? Nope. Deron Davis? Nope. Evan Fitzner? Nope. Jake Forrester? Nope. Bryce Thompson? Hurt. Jerome Hunter? Hurt. Zach McRoberts? Nope. I'm waiting. What do you got?
You're going to keep waiting.
What's he got? He doesn't have a lot to work with, folks. Now, again, yes, there's questions. I'm putting that aside right now. You got to have talent. And this team is not fraught with talent, not developed talent.
Despite what we thought 4 months ago.
Yes. Expectations, that's on the fault of whoever allows those expectations to climb. Now, there are things that I think that Archie needs to be held accountable for. That effort the other night, that's on Archie. I completely put that on the coach. If you cannot get a team ready to play a Division I basketball game, that's a problem. First of all, you shouldn't have to. They should be wanting to play. They're there by choice. This is not servitude. They have the option of whether or not to play college basketball. If you are, I think that you'd want to give your best effort, especially when you're doing it in front of 17,000 plus people, some of which drove 3 hours from Fort Wayne.
Oh, that's just the live fans. I mean, think about all the people that are watching on TV.
Well, but I'm thinking about the live fans. What about the guy that drives 3 hours from Fort Wayne?
Yeah.
Really? That's the effort you want to give him? That's aggravating. That's what aggravates me. But I know that they are, not only do they not have an abundance of talent, the talent that they probably do have, Jerome Hunter, didn't get to use him, didn't get to see him. I don't think people realize how much of a loss that really was. I think he was probably going to end up being the third option. Then you got Rob Phinisee. Now you've got that fifth spot. There's your committee involving Justin Smith and now Clifton Moore. There's your committee. You can't be by committee at the number 3 spot. That's not deep enough. You're not going to go deep enough. And if to prove that point, look at the stat line from the Nebraska game. You got 18 from Romeo, 17 from Juwan, and nothing from anybody else. You got to drop all the way down to 5 points. And that was Clifton Moore and Justin Smith. But Clifton Moore was your third man in that game. And how many minutes did he even play?
I think 5.
So your third biggest production comes in 5 minute span from a bench player.
Not good.
And, you know, and again, those social media boards, they crack me up. You've got two schools on there. You've got the one side that they're going overboard. Well, actually, there's three. There's the people in the middle that make comments that are prudent and accurate without going overboard. There are some of those. Those are in the minority. The two biggest, then you got wings on each side. You got the people who are going nuts, who are going overboard, who are overreacting, knee-jerk reaction, off the reservation nuts, half of them. Then you got the other side, the rah-rahs. Oh, you're not a fan if you criticize. Oh, my gosh. Go, IU. Rah-rah. No, that's not how you do it. You hold people accountable. If you do not hold them accountable, who does? They can be held accountable. But I think that you got two ends. They're off the reservation. They're like left-wing Democrats and right-wing Republicans.
Yep.
Either way, they need to chill because it is what it is. But you've got to be a little more intuitive about the situation, a little more educated. What does he have to work with?
And I'll say it again. Patience. Patience.
Yeah, it's the second year. He's got one class in, guys. But there was a good piece written by Brian Snow of 247 Sports yesterday. He laid it out pretty well. Talked about the things that I'm bringing up, the injuries, and he doesn't really have a lot of talent, to be honest with you. But there's also some roster issues. He talked deeply about bringing Evan Fitzner in instead of a guard. What, did you need this other big guy? Probably not. You probably needed a shooter desperately. We got to take a break. We got a lot coming up on the show. Todd Jadlow is with us next. Dustin DePork from the Athletics on as well. Hit us up on the text line if you got any questions. Joker's been doing it. You got to get to his next text. We'll be back with more right after this. This is Jim Coyle, but I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this 17th day of January. Joined now by former Hoosier Todd Jadlow. Todd, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, thank you.
What's new in the life of Todd Jadlow? I know you're living out in Kansas, back in Kansas, which is where you're originally from, right?
Right, yep. I currently live in Kansas City with my family. And just average, everyday life.
How does one get back to everyday life after playing basketball for Bob Knight for at Indiana, after living in a lifestyle like that? How do you get back to a regular life?
It's pretty easy, to be quite honest.
And you were at Indiana during a tumultuous time, successful time, tumultuous time. You got to see a lot of highs, a lot of lows, part of a national championship team. It had to be, there's a lot of excitement, but a lot of downtime, as we know as well. But it's certainly a very unique time for anybody in life, but you experienced a lot, up and down.
Yeah, it was, there was both good and bad times, playing at Indiana, but overall, a great experience playing for Coach Knight. Obviously, we had a lot of success. We had a couple down years as well, but it's an experience I don't think I'd trade for anything.
Having played on a national championship team, that's something that not a lot of people can say. And not only just playing on a national championship team, but winning one at a school like Indiana, one of the blue blood programs, that's got to be something that you're at least able to take through the rest of your life, and that not a lot of people can say, like I said.
Yeah, it's something to be proud of. It's something I think that everybody in college searches and tries to reach that pinnacle, and I just feel very fortunate to have been associated and played on a team that won a national championship.
Yeah, and you there was the book that you wrote, Jadlow on the Rebound, and you got a little flack about that. The book was not even about Coach Knight at all, but you certainly caught a lot of flack
But what I don't really get is I don't really understand why, because the things that were said are things that have been brought up many times by many people in many scenarios. Why do you think that yours were kind of attacked more than the others?
That's a good question. You know, I wrote the book, and I think there was 32 chapters, and only 4 chapters in the book were about Indiana, and I just kind of chronicled the 4 years there. And I think why it brought so much attention is because, you know, the things that went on back in the mid-'80s, you know, are things that certainly wouldn't go on and couldn't go on today by any means. And I think what you call tough love back then, you know, some people will refer to it as abuse now. I think, you know, in just giving some of the stories and my experiences, you know, it may have shocked a few people, and I think that's probably the biggest difference.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not like this was a revelation. Not like those things hadn't been said before, but it's like when a certain faction of Indiana fans are forced to face those things, they seem to go in a different direction and respond differently, and hence, how would you generalize your relationship with Indiana? Do you think that you have a normal relationship as a former player, or are you ostracized a little bit because of that book, because of those 4 chapters?
That's a good question. I really don't know, to be quite honest with you. You know, if people are going to judge me based upon, you know, my true experiences and expressing myself in a book, then that's on them. So I just don't know, to be quite honest. You know, like you said, I caught some flack from obviously some fans and even from a couple of teammates, but then I've had a ton of people equally as well be very supportive and say, you know, there's nothing that was said that hadn't been said. It was just my experiences. So honestly, I can't tell you. You know, I don't spend any time worrying about it, that's for sure.
Do you think some of it goes back to the old adage that there's a code, basically what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room and all that stuff? Do you think that was part of it, that people felt that maybe that shouldn't have come out in that regard?
That's funny, because that has been discussed a little bit. But like I said, anything that I said isn't anything new. You know, I'm not quite sure why there was so much uprising over some of the things, but that could be possible. I don't know. You know, I've read where people have likened the Indiana program. You know, Robert Abbott has become a fairly good friend of mine, the guy who made the movie Last Days of Night. You know, he likened it to a mafia family. You know, nobody says anything. Everything is kept internal. And in writing this book was about me just uncovering any skeletons and putting everything out there in my life and kind of starting fresh and new. And I don't think anything that I said, like I had mentioned before, was something that was different or hasn't been said before. So, you know, it's a good question.
Absolutely. And then fast forward to today, Indiana team, Archie Miller, currently the coach, obviously, but they had just suffered a tough loss at home to Nebraska. And Hoosier Nation is social media, which is something you didn't have to deal with. And I'm sure that you and all the other players I talked to are grateful for that. But good Lord, can you imagine what it would have been like if social media had been around then?
Yeah, it certainly would have been a lot different, I think. You know, everybody lives in the public eye right now with the social media and everything is put out there on display. So, yeah, I understand they're going through a tough time right now, and hopefully, you know, they can get it turned around a little bit. They've got a ton of talent on that team. So, one thing that they should not be doing is losing to teams like Nebraska or Northwestern, teams of such. So, but I think it's trying times for them right now.
Yeah, and I think that the other night it wasn't just the loss. It seemed apparent that the effort was absolutely not there for that team the other night. And And I think that, again, we harken back to the people who remember the night days, that would not have happened. That one thing about a night team, I don't think that there any time, anywhere, any place that a team did not come out and compete. And that's what happened the other night. That team did not compete.
Yeah, and I watched some of the video, some of the footage that has been out there, and that's very true. I think that's on the coach to get the kids ready to play every game. And I know at Indiana that, we try to win every game, but there's a true sense of fear in losing a game because of understanding how difficult the next day is going to be. Coach needs to instill a little bit of fear in these guys. But they're certainly winning the effort. I think not only is that on the players, but I feel more so on the coach.
How much do you keep up? Do you follow Indiana a lot, or you just catch it here and there? It's been so far removed now. We're talking a lot of years since you were there. So how much? And you're out in Kansas. How much do you follow the Hoosiers?
I keep up with them. I try to watch any games that are nationally televised, and I check scores. As the games are going on, every game that they play. So I tend to follow them pretty closely.
And what's next for Todd Jadlow? I know you're living just a normal life, and you've got some kids, a couple of kids, and just trying to be a normal dad and all of that stuff. What's a typical day for Todd Jadlow like now?
Just every average mundane day, I guess. I really couldn't tell you.
And having played on a national championship team, as we spoke about earlier, not everybody can say that. What was that season like? And I know because there's so many facets here. You've got Bob Knight, you've got Steve Alford, you've got the national stage and a national championship in the offing. There's a lot of stuff going on. That had to be just a magical season from start to finish.
It was, especially considering the season before, which is the year that Feinstein was there, and the season on the brink, which was just an extremely hard and difficult year to come from that year to the next year, where everybody seemed to gel together, and there was great unity within the team. And they're saying in the end, when you win, it's like country club. When you lose, it's pure hell. It was a great year. Winning solves a lot of problems.
Did on the brink, did all of that stuff, because there was, I remember that, the furor that came out after that and all that went with it. But did that help galvanize you guys? Did that help lead to a national championship?
No, I don't think so. What was in season on the brink was 100% accurate. That was the life of that we lived as a player, and things that went on in the program. I don't think it had anything to do with galvanizing us. I just think that, the next year, we had some key people, I think, come in with Dean and Keith that contributed quite a bit, and, there was just good chemistry, good camaraderie on the team. We had great leadership in Steve Alford, too.
And having gone through all that you've gone through, the ups, the downs, the season on the brink, the national championship, after all the stuff that you have to deal with afterwards, would you do it all again?
Would I do it all again?
Going back to Indiana, would you do that again?
That's a good question. Playing for coach, knowing what I know now, it might be a little bit difficult. But I certainly have no regrets, let's put it that way.
That's a great summary. Todd, I cannot thank you enough. We appreciate you joining us so much, and I wish you the absolute best to you and your family in Kansas.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Look forward to doing it again sometime, Todd. Thank you very much.
Yep. Absolutely. Take care.
Todd Jadlow, former Hoosier, joining us on the program. Very interesting. Hear from Todd, a member of the 1987 National Championship team, also a member. He was there during the season on the brink. Aftermath, the book by Feinstein, John Feinstein, who, do you remember you don't? No. The furor that came out after that. As soon as that came out, I'm like, what are you talking about? The furor when that book came out, And I remember, man, when that book came out, I could not wait to get my hands on it. I'm not going to lie. And I read it in probably about an hour and a half. I mean, it was just, and I think everybody that grabbed it did the same. You couldn't stop. And it was mesmerizing. Because you're like, it was an open book into the underbelly of Indiana. And a lot of people couldn't handle it. A lot of people didn't believe a lot of it. A lot of people still don't believe a lot of it. They don't believe a lot of the things that they see. They just don't.
Because they don't want to believe?
I think that's a big part of it. It is a big part of it. But this is not the only place a lot of this stuff happened. I think people need to understand that. But that did happen here. They need to understand that. But very unique time. There's so many different dynamics to that, and I didn't really get into the life aftermath for Todd Jadlow. It was not good. He suffered through some perilous times. He ended up spending some time in jail, drug and alcohol problems. But he's come through all that and is raising a family in Kansas. But he's still not ingratiated by Hoosier Nation. He's not a guy that you're going to see in Assembly Hall, I don't think. I mean, we saw A.J. Moye here recently. You know, our good friend Todd Leary's attending games all the time, and various players are coming back. That I don't know that you're going to see Todd Jadlow there. They should. I mean, why shouldn't you?
Dude lives in Kansas. He should go to Assembly Hall just to get away.
Well, I'm just saying that he's not. He has a different relationship with Hoosier Nation, or Hoosier Nation has a different relationship with him than most former players, and it's because of the book. And even though it was only 4 chapters of the book even talked about what he talked about, that was all it took. He wasn't from Indiana, so that was one thing right there, I think. Not being a homegrown product. I'm not sure he was ever a fan favorite, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Just, again, he wasn't from Indiana, and so. But it was great to have him along. We've got a lot more coming up. Dustin DePark from The Athletic covers both IU and Purdue for The Athletic. We'll talk to him about this weekend's contest between the Hoosiers and the Boilers. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us. Had a great show already. Todd Jadlow was on with us. Now joined by Dustin DePierrick from The Athletic. Dustin, how are you, sir?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Busy man. Dustin covers not only Indiana, but he covers Purdue and Butler for The Athletic. And a perfect week for that as the Indiana Hoosiers will travel to West Lafayette on Saturday to take on a pretty hot Boiler team. And it's not a great time for Indiana right now.
No, it is not. Monday is was just such a stunningly bad performance, and I think I think Archie Miller kind of really captured it. I think just by pointing out that they don't really usually have that problem. I mean, there are a lot of flaws with this Indiana team. Just structurally and offensively, there's not as much there as there needs to be. But energy has not been a problem. I mean, usually they've been able to at least keep teams close. And win a lot of games late, a lot of close games late because of their ability to close. And they usually bring energy, and they just didn't have any on Monday. They were listless. They just didn't ever get it going. And, you could tell earlier that they didn't have it, and it never came back. I mean, usually, when a coach can tell, hey, you guys aren't here tonight, they can usually, get into them and get them going at some point. And Indiana had a couple moments, but it wasn't sort of a concerted, steady effort the rest of the way. And Archie Miller seemed really upset about that on Monday. He did seem to believe, okay, like this is not who we're going to be, and we're going to be able to shake them out of it. But man, what a bad time! Especially when it's the first home loss this year, and against the Nebraska team, and that game's going to matter. That's definitely one that the committee is going to look back at it and say, okay, what happened here? Exactly. And now Nebraska, the thing is, Nebraska is going to be a quad one game, so it's not going to look that bad as a loss. Because Nebraska is a good team, and that looks like a tournament team for sure, especially if the Big Ten is going to get as many as people are talking about. But just that one came out of nowhere, and they also had for once a really good start against Maryland, and the below that one is killer. The way they lost that game with a 14-point lead. So you really have two games that they really feel like they should have had. Again, that would be really nice-looking wins on their tournament resume if they got them, and now instead they're 3-3 in the Big Ten, and you're starting to look at them and say, well, where is this going? So, not a lot of good news for Indiana right now.
Yeah, when you mentioned the NCAA is going to wonder what happened in that game, I was thinking, when they find out, let the rest of us know, because we'd all like to know what happened in that game.
Yeah.
It's not. It wasn't so much the loss to me, but it was how they lost. And I don't want to point out just one player in particular, and I'm not trying to do that. But there was a clip that I've seen that was on social media, and it involved Justin Smith, the pass along the baseline that he was throwing to God knows who, and then just casually watches them go down the floor and score. And it wasn't just him; the rest of the team the same. And that was just a cataclysm of the entire night. It's like, what are they doing? They're not competing. And I think that drove people crazy. But I'm a little shocked by the vitriol that has been on social media. It's gone a little bit further than I expected.
Yeah. I mean, people were mad about that one. I think I was surprised to see it veer into Archie Miller should get fired. And it was like, wait, they had a bad week. It's like, okay, like everybody pumped the brakes here. I mean, and I'm not even trying to go either way with this to say, well, Archie's obviously the guy. He's obviously going to be there for 30 years and win 4 or 5 national titles. But, they're in year 2, and, they were 12-3 before, the Michigan game. And they really hadn't lost a lot that, they shouldn't have been expected to lose. This was a pretty good-looking team. It's still a pretty good-looking team. Again, they've got flaws and they've got issues, but there's all of a sudden being like, okay, well, he doesn't do this right, he doesn't do that right. I'm not sure where this program is going, and you're like, hold on, what? It's year 2, and they're, they at least have a puncher's chance against everybody because they've got 2 really good players, and a pretty decent defense. So that went further than I expected. I mean, the Indiana fan base is just generally simmeringly angry and has been for close to 20 years now, so that's something for it. I mean, and I think after Zach Osterman really had a good phrase that said a lot of the Indiana's gone through a lot of false dawns, and I think that was a fair way to put it. There's just so many times when Indiana fans felt like we're back now, and it hasn't gone all the way there, and certainly the Crean era, there was a couple of moments where you're like, okay, like they've got a really good team now, they're rolling. This is back, and it just never went as far as they wanted it to go. And I think there's just simmering anger that anytime something goes wrong and is embarrassing, they start, going into a spiral.
Absolutely. And I think another thing they forget, I know the injuries, everyone knows about that, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, but getting past the injuries, there still isn't a ton there. I mean, you've got Romeo and Juwan, obviously, but everything else is talent in the making. Rob Phinisee is in the making. Jake Forster, we haven't even gotten to see. Race Thompson, we haven't gotten to see. And Jerome Hunter, of course, we certainly haven't gotten to see. And that's one that I think is maybe hurting this team way more than people realize. He may have been that third option. I think he may have been able to grow into that.
No, absolutely. I mean, you forget he was their second highest rated player from a recruiting standpoint. I think a lot of people look at it and say, well, maybe Phinisee is sort of the long-term keystone of this program. Basically, out of anybody in that class, when you came in knowing that Romeo was a comet, basically, and he was going to be flash through the sky, and you were going to see him in the NBA in a year. But you looked at Phinisee because he's a point guard, because he's such a steady guy. It's like, okay, that's the guy that they're going to have to rely on long term. But I mean, Hunter's right there in the same way. I mean, I think he was the number 60 recruit, 6'6", 6'7" kid who could shoot it, play defense, rebound. Like, that's the guy who matters to you. And the fact that nobody else has really stepped up to be that third scorer. Phinisee is it some nights. Sometimes looks like he can be that guy, but you would be it'd be a situation where it'd be Hunter some nights and it would be Phinisee some nights. But it would be one of them. And right now, just again, with Phinisee just coming back out of the injury and him still figuring it out, he's not the guy. And, Hunter would have probably been the guy. Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of talent there. There's, and he looked like one, a really good looking two-way player, that you were going to be using the defensive end as well. And, even going into this game, if he developed the way that I think he would have developed, you'd go into this one against Purdue feeling a lot better, and you feeling like you at least had a couple options of guys that you could use to defend Carson Edwards. Right now, I have no idea who they used to defend Carson Edwards. And Hunter would have mattered. It's tough to pin it on that again when the guy didn't play at all and is going to redshirt. But yeah, no, absolutely. They would have been further along if they got to play him this year.
Justin DePierick from The Athletic with us right now. And even putting the injuries aside, which they're there and they're real and they have had a drastic effect, and there's no disputing that. But there are some things, though, that still Archie has to be questioned about. I mean, that effort, you got to put that on the head coach. I mean, it's the head coach's job to have his team ready to play a Division I basketball game. Not that you should have to get guys up to play Division I basketball, but the fact that they didn't, and it didn't seem like there was a lot done in the game to change that. One of the things that I just have always been a proponent of, as I said, walk down the bench, you go get Jaeger, you go get Blackman, and 3 other dudes, you march them up to the scorer's table, and you just make a point. And that's kind of old school, but I think it still works. There's no better motivator than the bench.
Yeah, no, that's true. I that move is always interesting when you really dig deep and go get the walk-ons just to really make the point. That one's works sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, well,
you
couldn't leave them in there very long, no doubt.
And you go down 20, and they're like, okay, what was that for? What did you accomplish? But I do think he could use the bench more. I mean, I think that they could go deeper in terms of guys who can play. I mean, if there's one thing that sort of bewilders me, and I at the end of the day think Archie's a really good coach, and I do think most of what he does is logical and defensible. But you're not seeing Demezy Anderson, you're not seeing Jake Forrester. More plays.
Especially Demezy Anderson. I've been talking about that all week.
Yeah.
Especially against Nebraska, a team that played the zone, and it kicked their butt with the zone. I don't understand how you don't run him in there just to see what happens.
Yeah, they were 2 of 14 for 3. I mean, if nothing else, he can shoot. You've seen that.
That's
I'm
the
not
question.
He's a great shooter. The numbers don't look great. You remember him hitting threes, and you look back in his percentages, and you're like, it's not as good as I thought it was. But he can shoot it, and he's got some ability offensively. I mean, I guess there's defensive breakdowns. I am surprised he hasn't played more, especially because you've just gotten so little offensively recently from guys that are not named Romeo Langford and Juwan Morgan. And there have been moments where they've needed somebody, especially in Michigan when they had to pull them both. With the foul trouble, and then really put them back in and roll the dice with them for most of that first half with 2 fouls. If you have to take those 2 guys out, I mean, you just do not have a lot of offensive firepower to go to. You're basically hoping Devontae Green has a good day that day because he can score it when he is having a good day. When he's not, he's killing you. But it's like Anderson at least is an option. I mean, Zach McRoberts, can play some defense, but I mean, the guy doesn't have a point in Big Ten play. I don't think. I think he's 0 for 4 in Big Ten play, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, to further the point that we're talking about is he's been forced of late to play Clifton Moore because Deron Davis is further hurt. And actually, the other night, Clifton Moore ends up being the third option with 5 points, which that's disgusting that your third option can only give you 5 points. But he gave him some decent minutes, and he was forced to let him play. And that really, again, is like, okay, why are these guys why are you not developing these guys more, especially during this time?
Yeah, no, I mean, there is an interesting situation because everyone keeps talking about Evan Fitzner because Evan Fitzner is not playing well at all, and I think he's 2 for 16 in Big Ten play. I mean, he's just not shooting it, and it's weird because he really came in looking impressive. I mean, and your first month or so he was shooting it well, and not only that, he was playing some hard-nosed defense. He was really hustling, getting after it. He had that veteran look of a guy like of what you usually get from a graduate transfer, and it was there. I guess that's the thing is it just seemed to be there in the first month, and I think he's made 1 3 since December 1st, and it's wild. It's just like, well, what happened to this kid? And I guess the most charitable explanation I can come up with for why he has to play and why Clifton Moore doesn't get 1 minute and why Jake Forrester doesn't get 1 minute is that Fitzner at least can play the 4, and so in that aspect, you have to take Juwan Morgan out to get Clifton more minutes, basically, because he'll play the center. I mean, I guess you can play them together, move Morgan over to the 4, but you're not getting points the same way because, I mean, just Morgan's just so good in the low block. You're not necessarily trying to float him anymore because, again, he's just so good at getting around big guys and finishing at the rim. You don't want to take those options away from him. So, really Moore is just limited to whatever Juwan Morgan is off the floor. So that, I think, is the only explanation that, Fitzner can come in for Justin Smith, and you have more moments where you want to take Justin Smith out of the game than you want to take Juwan Morgan out of the game. That's the best I can come up with, and there's not really another option before. But, I feel like maybe you find a way there, number one, and also, I think Forrester can play the four. I would think. I'm not sure what he's doing wrong because he's barely played. It doesn't seem like Miller's a big fan, but the guy has some energy, some athleticism, and can finish at the rim. There might be, again, just a lot of sort of fundamental things he's not there with yet, but he, you could see him having some moments. You would think there's been some times where you have to say, if you're not getting anything out of Fitzner, you got to give this kid a shot.
Absolutely, and as they continue to move forward now, they play a hot Purdue team. This is a Purdue team they kind of went through a lull themselves, but they're playing well right now. They just routed Rutgers, and they have Indiana at home. And I got news for you: there's no team in the Big Ten salivating like Purdue is right now to see Indiana coming in.
No, absolutely. They're really feeling good about themselves. They evolved quickly, and they evolved quickly because Travion Williams can play. That is really the centerpiece of, what was wrong with Purdue a month ago and what is right with Purdue now. He's just really, really changed them completely. I mean, kid from Michigan came in at 320 pounds. I mean, you were just looking at him in November and being like, man, he's getting up and down the floor is tough. He'd gotten down to maybe 290 by that point. He'd lost a lot of weight by then, but even then, it was the way I put it was, it was tough to move him, but he really couldn't move that well. But he kept losing weight, and now he's got some athleticism. He's got some length. He can get up. He has double-digit rebounds in 3 straight games. And before that, I think coming into the month, I think he's still only averaging like 8 minutes a game or something like that if you take the whole season. But he's played in the 20s in the last 3 games. Double-digit rebounds, double-double in 2 out of those 3 games. Terrific touch at the rim, a lot of length, can get up. Really good passer out of the post, and plays in the low post. I mean, there are other 2 centers that were playing that position, Matt Harms and Evan Boudreaux. Neither one of them could really impose their will down the low block. Boudreaux especially, is out there to be a matchup problem and to drag a center out to the 3-point line. Williams is taking them down to the low block and, taking it and finishing on him and getting offensive rebounds and getting after it. And that kid's really turned it around because they can, feed him the ball and, draw a double, and he'll find, shooters. And that really helps them so much because, they were taking a lot of threes off the dribble and being contested. They are the most 3-point reliant team in Power 5 conference basketball. But he allows them to go inside out where they really couldn't do that before, and that changes things a lot, makes things easier for Carson Edwards and Ryan Klein. And they look good now. That changed a lot. They were just, again, entirely 2 3-point reliant, and now they can do a lot more things, get easy buckets in a lot of different ways, and makes them a lot more dangerous.
Absolutely. We'll certainly find out as they begin a continued tough stretch. 4 of their next 5 games on the road, and that home game against Michigan. This could either make Indiana season or break it right here, possibly.
Yeah, this one's key. This game very much is key, and the stretch is very much key. And Indiana, now there's some winnable games on the road. They go to Northwestern after that. Certainly, going on the road is difficult, and obviously Northwestern played them close. Vic Law is obviously dealing with some injury issues, and that road venue is it looks nicer now, but let's be real. The thing about the good thing about Northwestern for Indiana is it feels like a home game because everybody that's in the Chicago area, comes out for that one and buys their tickets in advance. So it's not exactly the most, intimidating venue for Indiana. You've got a Rutgers road trip in there, so those are some winnable games. But they also do, have a road trip at Michigan State on February 2nd, and I just don't think anybody else is beating Michigan and Michigan State right now. They are the clear first tier. There's nobody else close. There is a very good second tier in the Big Ten. It's very, very even from 3 to 12, or really about 11. But 1 and 2 are separate. by a long shot. So getting wins against those two is going to be really, really difficult. So you almost got to put 2 more losses there. But they've got to beat a Purdue. I mean, they really have to beat some of these second tier teams. Losing Nebraska and Maryland is games that are going to hurt them, and they can't. I don't want to say they can't afford another one of those, but as they start piling up, that's going to be an issue.
I hear you. Dustin DePirick, thank you so much from The Athletic. Make sure you check him out at The Athletic and also at Dustin DePirick on social or on Twitter. Thanks, Dustin. I appreciate you. See you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
That's going to pretty much wrap it up for us here on the Indiana Sports Beat. For Justin Kalen, I'm Jim Coyle. Tomorrow we'll be back with Todd Leary. I'll see you on the radio.